Hey guys, Sandy here, and welcome to another process video for Brutus Monroe. This week we are creating projects about our heroes. I'm going to be scrapbooking this layout about my son, who is a United States Marine. I've got some products here, and I'm excited to get started, so let's see what I can do. So the first thing I did was take this striped paper from the Seaside collection, and it's actually rope, but it reads as a stripe. So I'm going to go ahead and take both of these 6x6 sheets, butt them up end to end, and have them span across my entire 12x12 sheet of white cardstock. I also grabbed a sheet of 8.5 by 11 red cardstock from my stash and trimmed that down a little bit. Now, these chevron papers also came from the Seaside collection, and I'm going to use these as some excitement here. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do or how I wanted them to lay. I tried the chevron against the stripes, but that just was like a whoa to the eyes, so I decided that it needed to go on top of the red. Now again, since these are 6x6 papers, I butted them up against each other so that I could create a background that was wider than 6 inches. And that is a great thing to do with 6x6 paper packs. There are so many fun things you can do with 6x6 paper packs, even if you are a 12x12 scrapbooker. So my tape ran out, so I had to switch in the middle there, and I'm deciding to offset my photos here of my son off of the red paper here. Now I'm going to create something fun with this stencil. I'm going to create a border. Now I really had a lot of fun with this. Now I am taking the stencil and I'm taking some purple tape, and just in case you don't know what purple tape is, it is the great purple tape put out by Thermoweb. However, in this house, we say purple as purper. It's just one of those family words that has stuck around. So this is the purple tape, and I do keep that purple tape in a dispenser that I purchased from Brutus Monroe. Now I'm flipping through my glitter paste. I did swatch them. They are literally the only thing I have swatched in my room because I love them so much. I'm going to swatch some other things too, but glitter paste were the first one. I decided to go with denim, and I'm just using a palette knife and swiping the glitter paste through one side of the stencil. Now I am going to continue this stencil and make it basically into 12x12, and I was trying to figure out how to get this stencil on here without waiting for it to dry. But I did wait for it to dry, and then once it was dry, I decided to go ahead and flip it over and make it happen. So I had to go clean off my stencil so I could flip the stencil over and have that last line up. And then I'm just grabbing more of my denim glitter paste and I am pushing it through the stencil again. Now this is not my usual glitter paste palette knife. I usually use one more palette knifey shaped. You know what I'm talking about? But for this particular stencil, I decided to use that because I wanted that straight edge. So there that is. It is completely dry, and I love it. And then you can see where it's going to go underneath of my photo. Now this is definitely a very patriotic photo, even though it is not red, white, and blue. He is wearing his camis and he's on a piece of equipment rather that is green. But still, it's very red, white, and blue because this layout is all about my son, and he is in the United States Marine Corps. He is a corporal in the United States Marine Corps, and I am super proud of him every single day. It actually came up on my Facebook memories today that 3 years ago is when we gave him over to the United States of America. It was on Mother's Day 3 years ago. So that was a little rough. But yeah, I just love him to bits, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud that he wants to serve his country, and I'm proud that he is out there doing what he does. I did grab another sheet from that Seaside paper pack, and then I pulled these compasses out, and then I just placed them around my photos of where I'm going to create 3 little areas of embellishment. I wanted to make sure that this glitter paste-it stencil was completely dry, and it was, so I'm just going to trim it down. Now I started cutting this out with scissors and cutting all around these little kind of dashed lines, and I did move on from scissors to a craft knife on top of a craft mat. It went much quicker that way. It just did not want to trim every single little line like this with my scissors. I didn't even use a straight edge because the lines that I were cutting were so short. I didn't really feel the need to use a straight edge. And then you can see here where I'm just wrapping that up and then putting my blade away. So always cover back up your blade or retract it if it is a retractable blade. You do not want to slice open a finger while you're scrapbooking. You don't want the blood on your page. Ask me how I know. So here I am. I'm just going to add a bunch of adhesive to the back of this so that it sticks down really well on my page. And I was just trying to figure out where I wanted it to layer up. So I made sure to put it between the photo and that chevron background paper. And then it ever so slightly goes over the red bit on the left and the chevron paper on the right. So now I am trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And what I did was just created swatches of these items. So I used the aqua pigments in gilded red and blue sparkle. And then I used glitter glaze over here. And then I mixed the glitter glaze with the aqua pigment and created that other color. I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing, but as you can see, I did use my dies to cut out circles and rectangles, and I did use my Brutus Monroe circle and rectangle foundation dies for that. And then you can see that I built up the clusters on those 3 original places where I had the compass. And now I'm taking just the plain blue watercolor swatch that I did, and this was multiple layers of watercolor on here to get this deep dark blue. I tried to ink black on it, but it did not show up very well. So instead of, this is where I made the mistake, instead of wiping off my stamp before I stamped it into my embossing ink, now I've got little black letters in my embossing ink. It doesn't ruin the embossing ink, it just makes your ink pad ugly. And I was super happy because I was able to keep that ink pad clean for so long, but I kind of messed it up. So instead I decided to use the embossing ink, and then I used the Brutus Monroe Ultra Fine Embossing Powder in Raven to go ahead and heat emboss it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the red. So I spelled out "He is my" with the blue, and then in Hero I'm going to go red. In case you couldn't figure it out, super patriotic theme right here, you guys. So I am going to fussy cut these letters. Now this is one of my favorite alphabet stamp sets, and it is the lowercase stamp set. I'm trying to flip through my stamps right here to see if I still have it out on my desk, and I do. It is the bold alphabet, lowercase outline and fill. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite alphabets. I haven't purchased the uppercase one yet. I'm sure when I do purchase that, that's going to go along and be a favorite as well. But the lowercase is one of my favorite alphabets. I really love the fact that it has multiple letters. of the same letter. So you can spell out longer words and not have to worry because, oh, I need 2 A's in my daughter's name, and you don't have to like finagle and put the second A back in. So I just really like that. So I'm just cutting these out with my scissors, and my best tip for you to do this is when you are cutting out anything, whether it's something small like these letters, or even if you're cutting out large things, get a pair of scissors that feel good in your hands. That is my biggest tip for fussy cutting. If the scissors don't feel good in your hands, if your hand feels crampy, if your fingers don't have enough space inside the scissor handles, you're not going to enjoy fussy cutting. It's going to hurt, and you just don't want that. So please make sure that you have a pair of scissors that feels good in your hands. Okay, biggest tip. So now I am going to add in Hero, and I'm doing the same thing with the embossing ink. And then I grabbed a little scrap piece of paper to see if the black would come off of the ink pad, and it didn't. It's definitely just stained there, but I wanted to make sure. So then I went ahead and cut off Hero, and then I just used my little Swiffer duster to wipe off some of the excess embossing powder. That is another tip that I have for you guys. If you are embossing, make sure you keep a Swiffer duster around because it'll just pick up that loose embossing powder like super quick. You don't even have to worry about it. Before I discovered the Swiffer duster, I used to actually spray it down with a spray bottle and wipe it up with a paper towel because I knew if I wet it, the embossing powder, it would stay. Like it wouldn't like off into who knows where. So now I am just wrapping this up by cutting out the rest of the letters for Hero. And then I am going to figure out exactly where I want to put this here on my layout. Now I really like the fact that I was able to create my own embellishment clusters with just a couple simple shapes. I think sometimes when we are embellishing our projects, we think we have to have big, elaborate things to stamp and color and ink and everything else. But sometimes all you need is some simple shapes and some basic mixed media supplies, and you've created something that's pretty fantastic. So now I'm just going ahead and getting my letters kind of situated where I want them to be. And it does say he is my hero. And I am going to use some wet adhesive to go ahead and get these letters to stick down onto my page. They are spanning 2 different layers on the paper. So I just wanted to make sure that they were going to stay stuck down to the page and they weren't going to pop off. I'm kind of lining them up, kind of tucking Hero in between where the circles go down and the Y goes down on the page. So that is going to wrap it up. I'm just going to lay a couple lines of journaling down. I'm just journaling with a black pen, and just going to go ahead and place it down right here. Now I haven't decided if this layout is going to go in my son's military album or if this layout will end up in our family album, because I am making him a military album just with the pictures and such things that I have for him, and then I want him included in our family album, even though he isn't here with us at home. So who knows? Not sure which album I should put it in. We'll see. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for letting me share my hero with you. And I hope to see you guys again real soon for another video.